Hey guys, it's Rachel from Hope Corner Farm. By day, I'm a home ec teacher who teaches hundreds of students how to crochet, quilt, sew, and cook. And today I'm going to teach you how to complete the thermal single crochet stitch. The thermal stitch and crochet ends up leaving you with a very thick, dense, finished fabric for your crochet projects. In fact, it's my favorite stitch to use when I'm creating crochet pot holders, just because it's so thick and so dense. It's going to offer a lot of heat protection for your table from the hot pots or pans that come out of the oven. For today's tutorial, I'm going to use an H crochet hook, and I'm using this 24/7 cotton yarn from Lion brand. It's a little bit lighter weight of a yarn. It recommends a G hook. Again, I'm going to use an H hook for this tutorial. So if you're ready to learn how to complete the thermal stitch and crochet, let's grab a hook and some yarn and we'll get crocheting. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the bell so you get notifications of when I post new videos, and don't forget to give me some feedback on this video. Give me a like or a comment. Let me know what I did well or things that I could improve upon. So for the thermal single crochet stitch, you can start with any number of stitches. There's no multiple or no certain number that you have to complete the thermal single crochet stitch. So I'm going to start by chaining 10. Now, if you need to see how to chain in slower, more detailed movements, I'll include a link to a video below that takes it a lot slower and in more detail. So I'm going to chain 10, so there's 3 and 10. And if you need to count your chains, each V counts as 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're ready for row 1 of the thermal single crochet stitch. For row 1, we're going to go into the second chain from the hook. So we're not going in here, we're going to go actually into this stitch right here. What I like to do here for the thermal single crochet stitch is I like to put 2 legs of the chain on top of my hook and 1 leg on the bottom. So what does that mean? If you look at each chain stitch, there are 3 legs or 3 parts. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So when I insert my hook into the second chain from the hook, I'm going to put it into this space right here. Notice that's going to put 2 legs or 2 parts of that chain on top and then 1 on the bottom. So I'm going right into this space right here. I do this because I think it gives a nice neat edge to my thermal single crochet stitch when I get to the end. So now I'm going to place a regular single crochet into that chain, and I'm going to repeat the process across. I'm going to insert it. So there's what it looks like when you have 2 legs on top, 1 on the bottom. I'm going to place a single crochet stitch, and I'm going to place 1 regular single crochet stitch in each chain across. I'll actually have a total of 9 single crochets now at this point because I lost one when I went into the second chain from my hook. So now I'm going to have 9 stitches across this row here. We're almost to the end. So again, I'm going to insert it. So I have 2 legs on top, 1 on the bottom, and I'm going to yarn over, pull through. Now I've got 2 legs on my hook, yarn over, pull through both. Now if you need to see how to single crochet in slower, more detailed movements, I got a link to a video for that below as well. And that completes row 1 of the thermal single crochet stitch. Now row 2 for the thermal single crochet stitch starts a little differently, or I guess you turn a little differently to start row 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 1. Now on a normal single crochet row, after I have chained 1, I would turn my work. My work right now is kind of doing this. I would turn my work, so I was going like this. I am not going to turn like that when it comes to the thermal single crochet. Instead, I'm just going to kind of swing down here. So I've chained 1, and I'm going to come here. So what I'm going to do for the thermal single crochet stitch is I'm going to pick up the front loop of this last row of single crochet stitches and the unused leg of the chains that I didn't use in the round before. So when you look at your stitches, this is the front loop and this is the back loop of that single crochet stitch. So I'm going to pick up that front loop only. So I'll put my hook back in here. Again, I've chained 1. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to pick up that front loop, and then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to pick up that unused leg of the chain from the first row of single crochet stitches. So now I've got 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now I've got 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So if you look at it, here are all your front loops, and these are all the unused legs of that chain from the previous row. So again, we're going to pick up this front loop, pick up that unused leg from the previous row, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both. Pick up the front loop, pick up the unused leg from the chain. Now I've got 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now there's 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Go to the next one, front loop, front loop, unused leg, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Front loop, unused, got 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2 of the loops. That'll leave 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. Then we have 1 left. Front loop, unused loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. I'm going to speed this up here just to get to the end, and I'll show you how I do this very last stitch, because sometimes it's hard to see when you get to this last one. There's a lot going on here at the very end, but right here, this is the front loop, and this is the unused leg from the chain, so I'm simply picking up both of those right there. So I'll put my hook back on. So again, I'm going to come and I'm going to pick up front loop, unused leg, insert my hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now I've got 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. And that completes row 2 of the thermal single crochet stitch. You can see we're starting to get there, but it'll get much more fun and interesting the more rows we do. Now we're ready for row 3 of the thermal single crochet stitch, and this is the row that I repeat until I'm completely done using the thermal single crochet stitch. So this row is the one that gets repeated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 1, and then again I'm kind of flipping it a little bit. It's not a real turn, it's just a chain 1 and kind of a lean out, I guess, for now. So if you look at this, this is my last row of thermal single crochet stitches here. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, just to make sure you have the same stitch count. So again, we're going to go only into the front loop. We're only going to pick up that front loop. So we're going to actually come down and go in between that V right there. We're going to pick up that front loop only. So not only are we going to pick up that front loop, then we're going to come down here and pick up that back loop that we didn't use in the previous row. So you can kind of see the line of it running right here. If I hold this out, hopefully you can see that line right here. So those are the back loops that we did not use in the previous row. So the thermal single crochet kind of scrunches everything up and makes a double thick fabric, and that's why it works so great for things like pot holders and washcloths. So I'll show you how this works. I've chained 1. I'm going to come and pick up the front loop only, and then the back loop from the previous row. Now I've got 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now I've got 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through both. Go to the next one, pick up the front loop only and the unused back loop from the previous row, yarn over, pull through 2. Now there's 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Front loop, back loop, yarn over, pull through both. Now there's 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through both. Front loop, back loop, yarn over, pull through both. Now there's 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Front, back, pull through, front, back, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And I will show you what this looks like as we get farther along in more rows. It gets a little easier to see the front and the back loops that you're using, and it gets a little easier to complete this. Now here we are at the end again. We got a whole, it almost looks like a mess going on here, so you really have to look. Right here, this is the front loop that we're using, and this is the back loop from the previous row. So if you kind of look, you can very faintly see that V from the top of that stitch. So I'll put my crochet hook back on here. I'll pick up this front loop, I'll pick up this back loop, I'll yarn over, pull through both, yarn over, pull through both. And that completes row 3. And I would just keep repeating row 3 as I keep going and make my projects bigger. For any remaining rows of the thermal single crochet stitch, we're just going to repeat row 3 where we chain 1, slightly turn, and then thermal stitch across. Now this is a pot holder that I'm working on here, so it's a little bit bigger than that sample that I started with, but I want to show you what the rows start to look like the bigger the pieces get. So you can see this is starting to get kind of big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 1, and then this time I actually kind of turn a little bit more. So I'm taking it and I'm just kind of flipping it a little bit like this. Now you can see how those rows start to get closer together. So this line right here is my line of unused back loops. And then we're just going to grab the front loops from this row. So notice how they're pretty close together and they're actually easy to see. So we're just going to connect this and this, this and this as we single crochet. So we have chained 1. So I'm going to come and I'm going to grab this front loop and that back loop that I didn't use, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Front loop, unused back loop, yarn over, pull through. Now I've got 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through both. Front loop, unused back loop, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through both. And you can see how it gets a little bit faster because those loops are closer together. It's almost like just a regular single crochet stitch, yet you're still kind of creating that double thick fabric by kind of scrunching those rows together. So again, front loop, back loop, yarn over, pull through both, 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through both. So I'll continue across this row and then I'll show you what a final row of how you would end a project that uses the thermal single crochet stitch. I do something a little bit different for that last edge. Like if I'm creating a pot holder, I want it to look kind of neat and tidy. So I'll show you how I end my thermal single crochet stitch. So when you're ready to end your project that uses the thermal single crochet stitch, I do something a little bit different at the very end for the very last row. So what I do for the final row of thermal single crochet stitches is I chain 1 like I have, and I kind of turn like I have. Now this time, instead of only picking up the front row or the front loop and that unused back loop, this time I'm going to actually pick up the entire stitch here, so both back loop and front loop, as well as that unused back loop. So now I've got 4 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 3 of them. It's going to leave 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2. So again, I pick up the whole stitch and then I come and pick up that unused back loop, yarn over, pull through 3. There's 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Whole stitch and the unused back loop, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 2. Stitch, back loop, pull through 3, pull through 2. And that's how I do the final edge of my thermal single crochet stitch. It starts to get a lot faster because you start to again figure out exactly what you're picking up and where you're going. And this is what the edge of it looks like when you're done. And that's how I end my thermal single crochet stitch. What it does is it gives you kind of a nice neat edge, makes it look like a regular single crochet stitch on the edge, and it just kind of finishes it a little bit more nicely. Rather than having all of these here, they kind of get condensed into this look right here, which is a little bit neater and a little bit nicer looking. And that's the thermal stitch and crochet, or the thermal single crochet stitch. I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful. Don't forget to give me some feedback on this video. Give me a like or a comment, and I hope you guys have a blessed day.